In 1943, a scientist named Douglas Everett walked into the staff bar at Station 9, a secret research facility north of London. He ordered a drink, chatted with colleagues, and laughed at jokes. The bar was crowded, filled with smoke and noise. At some point during the conversation, without anyone noticing, Everett casually fired a high-caliber bullet into a sandbag near his feet. Nobody flinched. Nobody stopped drinking. In fact, nobody heard a thing. The shot was quieter than a finger snap. Everett had just proven that British engineers had solved the oldest problem in the history of assassination: how to kill a man in a crowded room and walk away before the body hits the floor. The weapon he used was not a pistol. It looked like a piece of plumbing pipe or a cheap torch. It had no handle, no trigger guard, and no sights. It was the sleeve gun, a weapon designed to murder a Nazi officer during a friendly handshake. Welcome to Ungentlemanly Engineering. Today, we are looking at the deadliest metal tube of World War II. To understand why the British built a gun that looks like a plumber's leftover rubbish, we must understand the brutal reality of the Special Operations Executive, SOE. By 1942, Churchill's secret agents were operating deep inside occupied Europe. Their targets were high value: Gestapo officers, informants, and collaborators. But killing these men was incredibly difficult. They were paranoid. They traveled with bodyguards. If an agent tried to use a knife, they risked a struggle. If they used a standard pistol, the noise would alert every German soldier within half a mile. Even the famous well-rod pistol, the silent assassin's gold standard, had a flaw. It looked like a gun. If a German sentry stopped an agent for a routine search and patted them down, the hard L shape of a pistol was an immediate death sentence. British intelligence needed a weapon that didn't look like a weapon. Something that could pass a pat-down search. Something that required zero draw time. And most importantly, something that vanished the moment it was fired. Enter Major Hugh Reeves. Reeves was one of the brilliant minds at Station 9, located in a requisitioned mansion called the Frythe. Station 9 was essentially a toy shop for spies, creating everything from exploding rats to miniature submarines. Reeves approached the problem not as a gunsmith, but as an engineer. He realized that the most recognizable part of a gun is the handle, so he removed it. What was left was a steel tube, 8.75 inches long and 1.25 inches in diameter. Officially, it was designated the Sleeve Gun Mark II. Unofficially, it was a murder tube. It was chambered in .32 ACP, a cartridge chosen because it was subsonic, meaning it wouldn't create a sonic crack when fired. But the real genius was inside the tube. Reeves packed the barrel with a series of metal baffles and rubber wipes. When the bullet passed through, the rubber would seal shut behind it, trapping the explosive gases inside. This captured the noise so effectively that the report was measured at just 73 decibels. For context, a normal conversation is about 60 decibels. This gun was literally whisper quiet. But how do you fire a gun with no trigger and no handle? This is where the engineering gets wonderfully ungentlemanly. The trigger was a sliding switch near the muzzle. To fire, you had to push it forward and then pull it back. It was a deliberate two-stage motion to prevent you from accidentally shooting your own arm off. The concealment system was pure Hollywood. The gun had a lanyard hole at the back, connected to a strong elastic cord that ran up the agent's sleeve and attached to a shoulder harness. Here is the tactical sequence. You walk up to the target. You let gravity slide the tube down your sleeve into your hand. You press the muzzle directly against the Nazi officer's ribs, literally touching him. You trigger the switch. Foot! The target dies. But here is the magic trick. The moment you open your hand, the elastic cord instantly snaps the gun back up your sleeve. By the time the body hits the ground, your hands are empty. You can look just as shocked as everyone else in the crowd. No gun, no smoke, no evidence. Now, the Americans also tried to solve this problem, but their approach was subtle as a brick. The OSS created the Sedgley OSS glove pistol. It was a heavy leather glove with a .38 cartridge mounted on the back of the hand. To fire it, you had to physically punch the Nazi in the face. It sounds cool, but it was flawed. First, you have to punch a man who might be armed with a machine gun. Second, it was unsilenced. Punching someone creates a deafening explosion right next to your own ear. Third, after you punch him, you are still wearing a smoking murder glove that you can't easily take off. Compare that to the British sleeve gun. The sleeve gun was silent, 73 decibels versus 160 decibels. It vanished automatically, and it allowed the agent to kill with a handshake or a pat on the back rather than a right hook. One was a tool for a brawler, the other was a tool for a ghost. So did it work? This is where the story gets mysterious. We know Station 9 built around 150 of these devices. We know they were distributed. But unlike the Welrod pistol, which has confirmed kills in Denmark and France, the sleeve gun has almost zero paper trail. There are legends, of course, stories of German officers collapsing in bars in Copenhagen or Paris, with no one seeing the shooter. But assassination, by definition, is not something you write down in a report. Furthermore, the sleeve gun was a throwaway weapon. The silencer wipes degraded after just a few shots. The gun wasn't designed to be reloaded in the field. It was designed to be used once and then dumped in a canal. This lack of evidence might actually be proof of its success. A Welrod leaves a gun behind. A sleeve gun leaves nothing. The perfect crime is the one nobody hears and nobody solves. Only 3 confirmed examples of the sleeve gun survive today in museums. Most were likely destroyed or are still rusting at the bottom of European rivers. It was ugly. It looked like a piece of industrial scrap. But the sleeve gun represented the pinnacle of British covert engineering. It solved the problem of concealment, silence, and escape in one simple, terrifying package. While other nations built bigger tanks and faster planes, the engineers at Station 9 built a tube that could kill you during a conversation about the weather. Subscribe to Ungentlemanly Engineering as we continue to uncover the secrets of Churchill's toy shop. Next time, we look at the weapon that relied not on gunpowder, but on itching powder.